Yeah. All right. Are we on?
Looks
Okay. Welcome to Monday Takeaway. Okay. That's my dog. I'm in my living room today, so you might hear that a couple times. There, you wanna? There's my dog. Okay. Monday Takeaway number 12. It's not Monday. We should be on Monday the rest of the year. I guess we could just jump right in. The episode is titled Villanova and Friends because something relatively large happened yesterday.
right. Villanova was ranked number 1 in the AP poll for the first time in program history. The Wildcats were one of, I believe, 6 or 7 teams to receive number 1 votes. If that gives you an idea of how the college basketball world looks right now. Wildcats are ahead of the Maryland Terrapins, Iowa Hawkeyes, Kansas Jayhawks, Oklahoma Sooners, North Carolina Tar Heels, among others in the poll. So some elite company. Certainly, we personally believe that the Wildcats probably are deserving of the number 1 ranking, even though in the grand scheme of things it really doesn't matter that much because like college football, things are not necessarily tied to rankings in college basketball. They only the only purpose they really serve is at the beginning of the season, giving an idea of how people think the season's going to turn out. Guess what? Probably won't turn out for what preseason rankings look like, and just to showcase how things shook out at the end of the season. So, but that said, still an accomplishment for Villanova to get to the top for the first time in program history, which I guess if you think about their program, especially in the much of the 2000s, how consistently good, if not great, that they were with the talented players that Jay Wright has had at their disposal. But certainly this year, things have looked pretty good for the Wildcats.
And they won a national championship, so it is kind of surprising they've never been ranked number 1.
This is true, but there was no postseason poll back then, so that's why.
That's true. That's true.
That's why they were never ranked number 1.
Yeah, so you got Villanova, number 1. Xavier is at 5, I believe.
5.
Yep.
A team I also did not mention, but yes, Xavier's number 5.
So, you're starting to kind of see the polls coming. Well, no, you can't even say that because there's been a lot of upsets and losses and stuff, but I think Villanova should probably hang on to number 1 for the week. They play DePaul and St. John's.
Yeah.
So, if nothing else, they should and Villanova plays Xavier in a couple weeks. That has the potential to be a very interesting matchup.
It does, and Xavier was actually the only team in the top 7 to not receive any number 1 votes. Virginia also received one. I omitted them in my spiel. Villanova, of course, received 32, which was part of the reason why they were number 1. But yeah, Xavier has a chance to, advance up the polls if they get some impressive wins going forward. Villanova Xavier has potential to be possibly number 1 versus number 2, which should be very fun, in my opinion. So,
yeah. All right, and then just I guess sticking with how we do it here, talk about the player of the week and such.
There's a lot of differentiation this week. Differentiation this week, at least from the perspective of how the conference awarded theirs and how we awarded ours.
Well, the conference gave it to Keelan Martin. He had 35 against Georgetown last week in their win, and then followed that up with a strong showing against St. John's. He hit 18 against St. John's.
Certainly deserving of the award.
Yeah.
A variety of different players, but Keelan definitely had an impressive week.
A player on his team had a triple-double. But, that doesn't automatically give you the player of the week, I guess.
Yeah, I guess people, they saw his 35 against Georgetown in a pretty big game. Shot the ball very well, too. He was 10 of 18 from the field, 12 of 13 against Georgetown, 4 of 5 against St. John's from the free throw line, so he only missed 2 free throw attempts all week. So,
yeah. And then freshman of the week was Edmund Sumner for the fourth time this year. And he's been really good. I mean, you saw how they were without him against Villanova, and he's a real crucial part to that offense.
Yeah, he's giving Henry a little bit of a chase for that the amount of times that he's received Freshman of the Week. I still think Ellenson's probably going to win Big East Rookie or Freshman of the Year, whatever it is, the season. But Sumner is definitely a very talented player who performed very well this past week in both of Xavier's matchups.
Yep.
So certainly deserving of that award with, Marquette and Ellenson. Despite a big week ahead of them, they fell a little short against Seton Hall and Xavier. So that probably also went into why Ellenson didn't get the award this week.
Yeah. And then if you go with the Big East Coast Bias Player of the Week, we had co-players of the week.
We did, and neither of them were Keelan Martin.
Yeah.
Keelan Martin actually only received one vote from the 13 persons that had their votes in. It went to Angel Delgado and Roosevelt Jones. Jones, of course, as Rob mentioned, had a triple-double versus St. John's.
Yep.
And Delgado matched his total of points and rebounds in both games that he played. He had 19 points and 13 rebounds in both of Seton Hall's victories this past week. And the Hall is marching towards the NCAA tournament for the first time in 10 years, and Delgado's been a big reason why. He's been on a tear as of late.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now they probably should be safely in. It depends who you ask. That's something we'll touch on later. But I think they're probably the third best team in the Big East right now, with Providence struggling.
I don't think that's even close. I think Seton Hall is definitely the 13th best team in the Big East right now.
And then, nice little segue to our power rankings. Once I find them. Anyway, I know Villanova was still number 1. Xavier was still number 2. All right, here we go. Yeah, Villanova stayed number 1. Xavier number 2. Seton Hall hopped up a spot to 3. Providence only fell 1 spot to number 4, and that's fair. It's not really time for them to worry yet. You just hope in March you're not going to get games where Ben Bentil rolls his ankle and Chris Dunn is super inefficient. And they can't do what they did against Villanova, get down 10-0 right from the jump.
Yeah, exactly. Because against a team like Nova, they'll make you pay all day, and you're not going to be able to come back at a reasonable rate. You'll have to go on a ridiculous run. So,
Creighton actually hopped up 2 spots, even though they got throttled by Villanova, but they had a nice bounce back Saturday. Cole Huff looked good.
Yeah, I mean, getting throttled by Villanova at the Pavilion, everyone gets throttled by Villanova at the Pavilion, so that doesn't really take that into account.
Yeah. Butler goes up from 8. Georgetown dropped a couple spots because they had an 0-2 week. They're down to 6 in the conference now. Also, a thing about Georgetown that I really just started noticing the other day, they foul a lot.
Yeah, they do. They do.
If you go fouls committed over 40 minutes, they got 3 guys in the top 5 in the Big East. No other team has more than 1. And on the CBS Sports broadcast the other day against Seton Hall, they said that Georgetown has had a player foul out on 17 different occasions this year. So that's not ideal. You got to get some more discipline there.
Seriously, though.
Marquette's down to 8 because, they played competitive in both of their games, like you said, but they're probably going to have to win the Big East tournament at this point.
Yeah, definitely. Just some late news here into the fold. I wouldn't say late news, but some news into the fold here that I may or may not touch on later if I decide to write a post about it today or tomorrow. Marv Albert, the famed broadcaster for Turner Sports, according to the New York Daily News, is no longer calling NCAA tournament games.
Oh, wow.
So he had been doing regionals, I believe, for the past few years. I know he did them with. I know he did them a couple times in the past when CBS decided to merge for NCAA tournament coverage. So he is no longer going to be doing NCAA tournament games for Neil Best of the New York Daily News, opening up a role for another play-by-play guy to get perhaps a much-deserved promotion. First two names that come to my mind, at least, are probably Ryan Eagle or Brian Anderson, who did very well in a tough spot last year when he was called upon to do the Kentucky Notre Dame in Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Carter Blackburn as maybe a dark horse too. I don't see him jumping those guys, but he does a lot of solid work. I enjoy when we get the CBS Sports Network games. He's always he's pretty good.
Yeah, I could see Blackburn. I could see Blackburn working himself into one of the lower tiered assignments. I think that it works both ways. Really, it pushes someone up the charts to a regional, and then it pushes someone into that lower spot. Someone gave a prediction on 506sports.com that I'm inclined to agree with here, I suppose. Actually, I don't know necessarily if I agree with this, but because they have Vern Lundquist not working with Bill Raftery, that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. I
could see Bill Raftery working the Final Four, but I don't think that he's going to be working with Nance now. That no sense. So, but he has Carter Blackburn in as the final of the 18, and I can see Blackburn being weaved in there.
Yeah. Let's see. We talked about the polls. We talked about the players of the week. We talked about the power rankings. That's kind of all the usual Monday stuff we touch on. Sunday night, while you were probably watching the Super Bowl, Creighton got a commit.
They did. Good
one, too. It's early, and he's a 2017 commit from Kansas. Had offers from Indiana, Iowa State, Kansas, Creighton, and chose Creighton. 4-star guy. Creighton's 2017 class right now, they got 2 4-star guys committed. Well, verbal committed, They got 4 scholarships left still, and they have 25 offers out. So, they're casting a wide net. But
I like you said, of course, they got to commit during the Super Bowl of all times to commit.
And, no, the funny thing is, before the Super Bowl started, I was going to go on the account and I was going to be like, okay, if any news is going to break, it's going to have to wait till after the game. And then I'm like, no, nothing's going to happen. But yeah, so Mitchell Ballack, top player in Kansas for 2017. He's 43rd in the ESPN Top 100. And then you go and you remember they already have Tyshawn Alexander committed for 2017, who is a top player in North Carolina. I mean, those are good states to be poaching from.
Yeah, definitely. And, I think I saw someone say that the move to the Big East is sort of paying off from a recruiting standpoint for Creighton here. I mean, they're getting pretty talented players, and with how they've been doing this year, they may not make the NCAA tournament. They may have had a few too many bad losses, but
they're going to be much better next year.
Oh, no doubt.
And, they're already shoring up for 2017 also.
Yeah, exactly. So this some big stuff.
Yeah. Let's see. Are we talking last week or are we talking brackets next?
Depends. What do you want to do?
I guess we could do next week or last week and then, do brackets and then do this week.
Yep, that's fine.
All right. So when we last spoke was last Monday. Nothing happened Monday night.
Nope. We had no games.
Tuesday night.
Tuesday night, DePaul upset Providence.
Yeah, it was a weird game. Ben Mental rolled his ankle early on, and it looked really bad at first, and then it looked a little bit more okay, and then he didn't come back.
Yeah, he tried to play on it. Was a little ginger. was unable to take care of business, so he wasn't able to play at his normal effective rate. And the Blue Demons pounced on it and were able to pick up a rather shocking and rather large victory.
Yeah, I mean they're 2-2 against ranked teams this year. People forget that.
Yeah, you might not realize that, but yes, they are 2-2 versus ranked teams.
Mike Henry, 27 points, 11 rebounds. I really hope someone brings him in for training camp. Otherwise, he's going to have a nice career in Europe.
Yeah, seriously.
He's good. Like I said, big problem for Providence is Bentil only playing 14 minutes, and then Chris Dunn is in the midst of a shooting slumper. He's all year, he hasn't been the most efficient shooter, but he gets it done. He hasn't really been getting it done this week. I think someone tweeted the other day, I don't see what the big deal about Chris Dunn is. Well, yeah, that's not a good take.
No, it's really not. Because, he's not the most efficient player, but he's very good on both ends regardless.
Yeah. But, and really, Ryan Fizikis got back into the fold this week, and that's going to be big for Providence going forward.
Oh, yeah.
Then your other game, Tuesday night, we talked about it a little bit. Butler and Georgetown really was a must-win for both teams.
And Butler was able to come out on top there. I think there was much more needed for them. I know we knew Georgetown was skating on thin ice, but Butler was descending towards that area, and they needed to bounce back in the worst way.
And Butler had a crazy start, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I believe that they did, or they at least went on a big run at one point.
They were up 26-13 at one point.
Yeah.
And then up to 40-25. So they kind of controlled the game. Not quite wire to wire, but close enough. And for Georgetown, they're starting to be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, they're 14-11 now after their victory yesterday against St. John's. We knew going into conference season that they weren't exactly playing with the best implications going forward. They weren't playing with a lot of comfort, but they are steadfast approaching a dangerous situation where literally the way that they're going to get in if they win the NCAA tournament. Or I should say tournament. Big East tournament.
Yeah. So then we move to Wednesday. Villanova and Creighton, I thought people thought it would be a little bit of a better game than it was. Especially with the start where it was 12-12 at the under 16 because everyone was just making threes.
Yep.
And then, pretty much Villanova just kicked it into the second gear and just kept it there. Brunson had a good game. Josh Hart had a good game. Chris Jenkins had a career game. Daryl Reynolds stepped in for Otrefu. Villanova's got a lot of ways they can beat you. They're like Xavier. And I think this Villanova team is different than last year. They're not as reliant on the three. I know people will tell you they are, but they're not.
They certainly shoot a lot of three-pointers, but I don't know if they're necessarily relying on it from a scoring perspective.
No, last year the thing is they were making them, so they shot more.
Yeah.
And then their luck turned in the game against NC State. 33% of their points are coming on three-pointers this year. Last year it was 35%. So, and this year they're also getting 47% of their points on two-pointers, where last year was 42. So, they are doing a little bit more. Plus, I think Josh Hart's probably better this year than any player they had last year.
Him and Darren Hilliard certainly were quite good. Obviously, Hart playing in a six-man role last year. Hilliard playing the role of efficient guard. But Hart is certainly a very talented player. He's been playing at a high caliber level all season.
Yeah.
So,
And for Villanova at this point, they're kind of in the driver's seat where they just need to get some stack up wins, maybe take a loss to Xavier, not the worst thing in the world, losing at the Sim. And they're going to be playing in Brooklyn and then Philadelphia.
Yep, as well, as long as they take care of business in the Big East.
Well, yeah. I mean, what do you think? A loss to Xavier and then still winning out would probably get them the 3rd 1 seed?
I still think they're probably going to get the 4th. I don't think that the committee is going to give them any favors.
Yeah, that's probably going to get them sent west.
It really, really
it's hard
depends.
For me to believe they're going to send them west when they have games in Brooklyn and Philadelphia.
Well, I mean that doesn't matter.
No,
they can play games in Brooklyn and go across the freaking country. It really.
I know,
does not matter.
But if you just look how it's set up, you're going to get Iowa, Des Moines, and then probably Chicago.
But here's the thing, though. That does not matter when it comes to placing the regions.
I know, but it's hard for me to believe that they'd have them play in Brooklyn and then send them to Anaheim instead of just putting them in Philadelphia because.
I mean, they did that to Wisconsin. Wisconsin played their games in Milwaukee, then they went to L.A. in 2014.
I get that, but do you think Maryland or North Carolina would fill the Wells Fargo Center as much as Villanova would?
North Carolina, a national brand. Maryland, who is so close. Maryland, who could throw a rock and it would land in Philadelphia? Yes.
If North Carolina's a national brand, that's more incentive to send them to Anaheim.
No, not at all. Because again, it depends on also what Oregon does. If Oregon does well, they're going out west as a top 2 seed. You can get it and wrap it up from there, and then you can figure out what comes next. But North Carolina will fill seats. It's not a big deal. They're not necessarily worried about that. And again, they sent Wisconsin out west 2 years in a row.
Yeah, but
it doesn't matter. They also had Arizona, and North Carolina's probably not dropping down to a 2.
I just think the 1 seed should get a geographical advantage.
But it becomes a point of you can only do so much when your regions are Chicago, Philadelphia, Louisville, and Anaheim, because we don't have the traditional North Carolina site or Atlanta site or anything like that you can easily put an ACC team in there. You have to kind of get creative because you have an East Coast thing and then like a Southish, Midwestish thing with Louisville because it's right under Ohio.
I mean, that might need to be something they look at in the future where they spread these out.
Yeah, because this is interesting because I can't remember a time where all the regions were so close to each other. I mean, sure, last year it was Syracuse, Cleveland, Indianapolis, and LA, but at least with that.
I mean, maybe instead of Chicago or Louisville, they could have done Kansas City.
Yeah, I could see that, or again, they could have thrown it down to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Next year, where are next year's regions? I wonder.
We're getting off track. We're not doing brackets yet.
We are getting off track here, but that kind of just happens on this show.
I know that at the Garden next year.
All right, let me see here. Okay, so 2017, the regionals are the Garden, Memphis, San Jose, and Kansas City.
That's fine.
That's totally fine. That's an incredible 4 sites.
I don't love them going to Indianapolis for the first weekend. I think Indianapolis should probably get reserved for Final Four.
Yeah, I don't really like that either. But no, those are awesome sites. Wow, they really hit it out. They really hit it out of the park there.
And then Boston, Omaha, LA, Atlanta are fine too.
That's perfect. That's literally perfect. You have your traditional Northeast, you have your traditional Southeast, you have a Midwest one smack dab in the middle of the country, and then you have LA. That's 2018 is perfect.
Yeah,
it's impeccable.
Yeah. Also,
that is absolutely perfect. They did a great job in 2018.
Also, if you noticed by these spots, none of those are football stadiums.
No, And thank God for that they finally did away with that.
I guess Atlanta and Los Angeles could technically end up being in football stadiums.
No, it's going to be at Staples Center, and Atlanta's getting the Phillips Arena. So because they did away with that, and I don't blame them for it because there was no incentive for it because for all the regionals they couldn't use the whole arena, the whole stadium anyway. So why bother?
Well, no, we went to a couple of them, and
it was ridiculous.
And it
was ridiculous.
I get it for the Final Four. You fill it in the Final Four.
Yeah, exactly. You fill it for the Final Four. You take that opportunity because you're probably going to get a lot of people there anyway in the first place. The regional rounds, no, forget it.
But yeah, no, we were in Indianapolis. I mean, we were up top. The court looked like a postage stamp.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a terrible view, but my God, it was so pointless.
Anyway, back to Wednesday.
Back to Wednesday. Now that we talked about Creighton Villanova, which spearheaded this conversation. So what's next?
Xavier beat St. John's.
That was a very well played game for St. John's, and I said that was the best game that they played all season, and I thought that was going to turn into something in the future if they played like that again. Well, their next two performances didn't exactly corroborate with me, but does not take away from what they did.
Yeah, that was good. It's just you just gotta wait it out, be patient.
Yep.
Xavier had 5 guys in double digits. It gets to be a point where you can't really analyze what Xavier does anymore because they just do it so often.
Mm-hmm.
New information.
Mm-hmm.
I do have an interesting question for you. Who do you think Xavier's best player is?
Trayvon. I think it's Blewett. I could listen to you on James Farr. I could listen to you on Jalen Reynolds. I could maybe even listen to you on Sumner, but I think Blewett's the best player.
Yeah. Okay. And then to cap off Wednesday night, we had Marquette and
Seton Hall. Seton Hall taking care of business in that game. Unlike Marquette's matchup with Xavier, Seton Hall kind of gave a lot of chase to Marquette. They pulled away late, I believe.
Yeah.
That game didn't get as close as Marquette would have liked.
No, and Seton Hall for them, February is where everything kind of went south last year.
Not just last year, the year before that, and pretty much every year that Kevin Willard's been there. So.
And, if Kevin Willard was coaching for his job this year, he's done a fine job so far.
Oh, no question.
So then we didn't have games again until Saturday because that's just how it goes here.
Yep. And Saturday was quite a loaded day.
Yeah, we had 4 games. Marquette and Xavier. Actually, Marquette was.
No, we have 5. We have 5 games.
Oh yeah.
Because the Super Bowl was on Sunday.
Yeah.
So every team played. Yeah, Marquette played Xavier. Was that the first game of the day?
Yeah.
That was a very well played game. That was one of the more fun games, especially the pace that they were playing at. Marquette gave Xavier a run for their money, leading at times during that game as well. But Musketeers and their balanced scoring efforts kind of just overpowered them eventually, and.
Yeah, they had 3 guys get to 20 for the first time since 2010.
Yeah.
JP McCurra continues to just blow everyone away in conference play.
Yeah, he's definitely stepped his game up, that agitator. If JP McCurra played at like Duke or something like that, everyone would hate him.
He's got 4 straight double-digit games now, so.
Yeah, and I say that on that note, at least JP McCurra doesn't trip anybody. Looking at you, Grayson Allen. Looking at you.
And then after that one was Creighton and DePaul. And really the story of this one is Cole Huff. He's struggled a little bit in Big East play. And, to come out, get 28 points, hit his first 9 shots, 8 shots, 9 shots, whatever it was. And this is actually a close game until the end of the half. Creighton went on like a 15-0 run.
Yeah, like you said, the Blue Jays kind of blew the doors off towards the end, but Cole Huff played quite well, and like you mentioned, it was pretty even for a little bit, I believe, right?
Yeah. No, really, Cole Huff came in with like 5 minutes left in the half, and I think he had 15 or 18 by the end of the half.
Yeah.
So Mike Henry, 22 points, 8 rebounds. He's good.
Yes.
Crane got a lot out of Jeffrey Guzell too. Hit a double-double. Fans got pizza.
Yes.
Mo Watson almost had a double-double. Really just a good game they needed. Later on Saturday, actually the same time Saturday, we had Villanova and Providence. And that game got a little bit closer towards the end, but really just Villanova took it to them. You tell Ben Bentel wasn't 100%, still got 20 points. Chris Dunn struggled, 4 for 15. And that's kind of what I was talking about. You know, he's been really inefficient lately, and they're going to need him to either be more of a playmaker or just get better shooting.
Yeah, pretty much.
Again, that's not something you worry about in the middle of February.
No, not at all.
And then later, I know Butler and St. John's. You know, you said you thought it was a turning point for St. John's, and then they come out.
Yeah, they kind of went in reverse. Butler sliced and diced them from start to finish.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, when you're getting 16 out of Jordan Gathers, it's just – and Kellen Dunham even didn't do that much.
No, yeah. It was just
Tyler Lewis came back. That was good.
Yep.
And then for the Red Storm, Yanku Masima came back.
Yep.
He's limited, but it's good to have him back out there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Him and Yakwe will be a nice pairing going forward.
And then arguably your game of the night, Seton Hall and St. John's played a really fun game actually.
Seton Hall and Georgetown.
Yes.
But point still stands. I do agree with that.
And the thing, I mean, I know Georgetown lost, but they got a lot out of Isaac Copeland and LJ Peak, who've both been struggling a little bit of late. So that's good. They just, again, got to get the fouls under control. Bradley Hayes, after his nice start to the season, has kind of leveled off.
Yeah, he's definitely not playing as well as he did in the first 2 months of the season or so.
But, I mean, again, if you're playing a team like Seton Hall, you can't have, Govin, Hayes, Copeland, Derrickson all with 4 or 5 fouls.
No, definitely not.
Because that's going to not end well for you.
Yeah, they'll make you pay.
The thing about this game is Isaiah Whitehead didn't even play that well.
No, he really didn't. It was just pretty much everybody else.
Yeah, and really the thing for Seton Hall this year that I don't know if a ton of people are talking about, everyone talks about the sophomores, and as they should, but Derek Gordon has been a huge impact transfer, probably the second biggest transfer in the conference, just because Tyler Lewis has struggled and Cole Huff has struggled. I would put Derek Gordon number 2 as biggest transfers.
Yeah, no, he's been very good. He's been very good. He's been good defensively. He's been good commanding the ball whenever he's on the floor. Ishmael Sanogo as well has been very good defensively.
Yeah,
Seton Hall, not a transfer, but a very good player for them as well. The Seton Hall team, like you mentioned, they're probably going to be back in the tournament again for the first time in 10 years, and they're pretty. If they get things right, if they get the right matchup, they could be a bit of a danger for a high seed if they win the 7-10 or 8-9 matchup.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And again, they're all sophomores, so you figure they'll probably stick around for at least another year.
definitely.
I'll do it for Saturday. Then last night we had
St. John's, Georgetown.
Yeah.
Georgetown, much like in Seton Hall's matchup with Butler, kind of took care of business against the lowly Red Storm. Isaac Copeland and LJ Peak both had really big games. Peak had like 20-some points off the bench. Copeland also scored 20. Devontae Smith-Rivera scored over 20 points.
So, yeah, I brought up Copeland and Peak, and now we're going back to it.
Yep, because they performed well. So.
And you hope that translates to the rest of Georgetown because they're going to need some things to go their way.
Yep, definitely. They're going to need some things to go their way on their side, and they're going to need some things to go their way on the other side, too. So,
yeah, I'm just looking at the ESPN sidebar here as we're going over these scores. NBA legend Magic Johnson agreed with Stephen A. Smith that Coach Tom Izzo is great for the Spartans. Really going out on a limb.
God.
And, everyone loves Magic. He's great, but he is just not a good tweeter.
Nope. Absolutely not.
So I'll do it for that week. I guess we talk brackets now, questions, whatever. You want to do brackets or questions before next week?
Let's go to brackets.
Joe Lunardi, who I have a problem with. Well, I don't have a problem with him. I have a problem with his bracket. He's a very nice guy, but
I can understand Butler being the last four in. I don't get Seton Hall being the last four.
First Villanova as a 1. Sure,
fine.
Xavier is a 2 in St. Louis, which I really do think that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if they don't go to St. Louis.
Seriously. It's pretty much a lock at this point.
I'm not confident enough to book a hotel.
But
Providence dropped to a 6 in Spokane. That's the last place they want to be.
Oh, God.
They do not want to be in Spokane.
Because
in this matchup, they'd play Monmouth, which isn't an easy matchup, and then Oregon. So
yeah, even though I think Oregon's going to be
Providence will be a lot of fun. I would love to see it, but
like we've mentioned. I think. But here's the thing though: the committee loves RPI. Oregon has a high RPI, so Oregon's probably going to get a top 2 seed if they win out. So.
Yeah, but they're still probably going to be in Spokane.
No doubt.
No, they're not going to be a 3, though. I agree.
No, they're going to be a 1 or a 2 in the West. I mean, it's that simple. Because again, the committee loves RPI,
which also really bodes well for Xavier and Villanova.
Exactly. So.
Butler is a last 4 in,
which again I'm fine with.
Last 4 in, so they'd be in Dayton, actually playing Syracuse.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
And Seton Hall
would be fun.
Seton Hall also last 4 in will be playing Florida State.
I don't understand that. I truly.
They have one of the best non-conference wins of the season of any team, and I know it's not just one game, and I know Mississippi and Georgia haven't been great.
But it's like, I don't know, and I think that they're better. I feel like they're in better shape than Washington. I mean, sure, Texas has come on of late, but Washington is 7-4 in conference play. Same thing as Seton Hall, I believe.
Yeah.
And their wins have come over. Arizona have come from UCLA, USC, Washington State, Arizona State, Colorado. I mean, both teams. I guess that the win over Texas, you could argue, is a better win over Wichita State at home. I don't know. I guess Washington's win was on a neutral floor, but
Washington still has a tough schedule coming up though too. So, I mean,
yeah, they really do. I think Okay, here's another team that I think Seton Hall is in better shape over.
Cal?
VCU.
Yeah. Well, VCU, they struggled in the non-conference. They really turned it on.
They really struggled in the non-conference. They didn't beat anybody. Every good team that VCU faced in non-conference play, they lost to. They lost to Duke. They lost to Wisconsin. They lost to Florida State, Georgia Tech, Cincinnati. Georgia Tech's not even good.
No.
Georgia Tech is 12-11 and 2-8 in ACC play.
Hold on. I just mute my microphone real quick because they're going to leave a message. So I'll just keep talking for a second.
And I know VCU has come out of late in conference play in the A-10. They're 9-1. Sure, they lost to George Washington on Saturday. And I guess that, they'll get some pub, but that non-conference resume should hold some water because if you relegate the non-conference to mean basically nothing when VCU beat no one, their best win in KenPom is against Old Dominion. Old Dominion, who is 13-10 and 6-4 in Conference USA, who, might I add, lost to Georgia State and Southern Miss, one of the worst teams in Division 1A. I think Seton Hall has a better case to be made for than VCU.
No, I agree.
And these are just the teams that are on the buys. I think that Seton Hall right now probably doesn't even need to worry about where they stand in terms of the buys. I think that they should be in as an 8 or a 9 or a 10.
Yeah.
A 7 seed is probably their ceiling unless things really, really pan out well for them.
Yeah, but
and even St. Joe's. I know again St. Joe's. They're in the A-10, good conference. But where are their good non-conference wins? Their best win is against Princeton. Princeton of the Ivy League, who right now is 14-5. Good team, might make the NCAA tournament if they win it all. If they win the Ivy League, then Temple, who is a solid team. Sure, they play Villanova later on in the year. If they were able to shock them, that really helps St. Joseph's cause.
Yeah,
and Butler's cause as well. But and then there's Cal, California, who also hasn't done much to speak of either.
No,
Who's very consistent. Their best non-conference win is over St. Mary's. St. Mary's is a good team, but lost to San Diego State, lost to Richmond, lost on the road to Virginia.
They've lost every road non-conference game so far, or conference game.
Yeah.
Actually, they only have one win on the road this year, and it was an overtime in Wyoming.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, I don't.
No, I completely disagree that. And then you look at the other the lines for a lot of these seeds. Monmouth, I can't talk about a team that's probably going to win their conference. So whatever when it comes to that. Valparaiso's probably in. That's not really much of a contest there. Washington, I've already stated my case. LSU, I guess they're in because they're leading the SEC right now. But
yeah,
if LSU does something stupid like lose in the first round of the SEC tournament, which I would really put it past them to do that, then they're not getting in. And then the 9 line: Colorado, George Washington, Michigan, and Pittsburgh. And then Gonzaga, St. Mary's, Indiana, and Connecticut on the 8 line. Yeah. I just think Seton Hall should be safely in.
No, they don't.
Right now. You don't know how the rest of the season is going to turn out, but right now they should be in and not worry about playing a playing game in Dayton.
Just going real quick and talking about matchups. Villanova, they beat Montana. It's the 116. How do you feel about?
Good. Villanova versus UConn again in the second round. Good. Yeah, we love giving an opportunity for UConn to get in the tournament and make a run. I would not feel comfortable about that game at all whatsoever.
No, I mean, honestly, looking up and down the region, that's probably the game that would scare me the most. Maybe Miami, just because they have, a couple of nice players. But I think as long as they get past UConn, they would be able to go on a little bit of a run.
I'd be terrified of UConn. I'm sorry.
Xavier isn't really getting any favors with Wichita or LSU. I feel like they beat down LSU, but
Yeah, Xavier would beat down LSU.
it's not getting many favors with their region in general.
I mean, they'd beat Duke if they had to run into Duke.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with that region. That'd be a fun region.
And then Providence, like we talked about, if they play Oregon, Spokane, they're probably in trouble. But if they were able to beat Oregon, I think I would like them against Kansas.
Can I just say that this Midwest region on Joe Lunardi's bracket is gross?
Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
Ugh.
You're pretty much the one fun thing would probably be the Iowa State Sweet 16 game.
Yeah. After that, ugh.
After that, I was probably in the Final Four. I mean,
yeah. Ugh, God.
So that's Joe Lunardi.
Anyways, CBS. Oh,
I would imagine Jerry Palm still has Seton Hall safely in.
Yeah, I believe he has Seton Hall as a 9 seed.
Yeah.
Hold on, I gotta worry about the autoplay here. His last 4 in are VCU, Gonzaga, Cincinnati, and George Washington. Perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
Perfectly reasonable. And he says that Louisville's postseason ban opened up a spot for Gonzaga. So now we know why they're in.
Yeah.
He has Xavier, a 1 seed in the Midwest, in St. Louis. 16 seeded Montana. They would play the winner of Indiana and Washington.
Yep.
So that's where he had Xavier. He's had Xavier as a 1 seed for the longest time. So
I don't get how you can have him as 1 seed over Villanova still.
He probably thinks that they're going to win the conference, which I don't.
No, that's not crazy. He's got Villanova Syracuse. If you thought Villanova UConn would be fun.
Oh God, he has Providence playing in Brooklyn against one of the 11 seed playing teams, and then they would play the winner of Maryland UAB.
Yep.
And he has Seton Hall playing Michigan. A nice little rematch of the 1989 NCAA championship game.
Speaking of NCAA championship game rematches.
Yes.
Go look at the 7-10.
In the West?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy. He has Duke facing Butler in Spokane.
Fun.
Worst possible scenario probably for Duke in the biggest of ways.
Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
So it's Jerry Palm. It'll all change next week anyway. So
I respect this bracket that Jerry Palm is. I respect this bracket.
All right. So I guess
let's go look at SB Nations real quick. SB Nation, who
today is Tuesday.
I saw earlier that he has Villanova and Xavier as 1 seeds.
Okay. I mean, well, because he said last week, because we asked him, we had a Q&A with him. I think he said whichever one wins the Big East tournament should get the 1 seed, but they should both. It's going to take a lot to drop them out of the top 8 in general.
Yeah, he said, on the other hand, the Tar Heels indeed fell from the group of 1 seeds replaced by the Xavier Musketeers, who looked for a time in its Saturday home contest with Marquette ready to join the upset list. While UNC and Villanova share the same 1 and 2 mark against the top 25, the Heels still have that bad early loss to Northern Iowa. As for their replacement, Mac's squad is 2-1 in top 25 games, though both wins happen over Thanksgiving weekend at the Advocate Invitation. Advocate Invitation, I should say. I didn't say that looked like Advocate. Xavier must improve that total over the final 5 weeks, perhaps that home rematch with Villanova on February 24th, to have a legitimate chance at remaining in an anchor spot. That's fair.
Yeah.
So he has Villanova as a 1 seed in the East, playing in Brooklyn on Friday and Sunday against the winner of Pittsburgh and Florida. They would have to get through either Bucknell or Texas Southern. 2 seed in that region is North Carolina. 3 seed Iowa State, 4 seed Purdue. He has Seton Hall, a 10 seed in the East, playing in Raleigh against South Carolina. That would be a bad matchup. And I only say that just because it's just how it is. Yes, Texas playing San Diego State, who he has winning the Mountain West. The Mountain West, the dearth of teams that are competing in the Mountain West is going to help out a lot of bubble teams from a lot of high major programs. I'm going to tell you that right now.
I would take San Diego State over Texas.
I probably would too. Anyways, he has Providence playing in Brooklyn on Friday and Sunday. They are a 6th seed in the South. They would play either Cincinnati or Washington and face the winner of Virginia, UNC, Wilmington. Then moving forward, he has Xavier playing as a 1 seed in St. Louis, to no surprise, facing UNC Asheville, 16 seed, and they would face the winner of Valpo or UConn. I hate that. I hate that for Xavier because both Valpo and UConn are dangerous teams.
Yeah.
And then looking around here, he has Butler playing as one of the last 4 in. He has them playing George Washington in a playing game. The winner of that game would face Kentucky.
Yep.
In Providence on Thursday in the Midwest region.
Yeah.
So that's where that is. And he has Oregon as a 2 seed for the record, playing in Spokane against Montana, against the winner of Indiana and Florida State. I would not hesitate to move Oregon over to the Sweet 16 if that is the case.
Yeah, me too.
So I respect this bracket. I respect this bracket too.
All right. So on to this week.
Yes, this week.
Couple big games tonight.
Yeah, there are a few big games tonight. Number 1 team in the country faces DePaul in Rosemont.
Yes.
At the Old Horizon.
I will be there.
Yes, you will.
Going to that. I wasn't planning on it. Actually, when it came out, I'm like, oh, Jalen Brunson's homecoming. I should go to that. And then I forgot about it until legitimately yesterday.
And you were able to...
Yeah, the DePaul people really like us. So
They do.
They hook us up. Should be a good game. I've never seen a number 1 team before, so the highest I've seen probably is whatever Kansas was when they came to Mizzou Arena. I believe they were 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then Xavier Creighton, and that's in Omaha. So
Yeah, that has some potential there.
Yeah, Xavier's favored by a point, so that goes to show you how much rub they give Creighton in Omaha.
Yeah, and deservedly so, in my opinion.
We'll have someone at that game too, because we're big time now.
Yes, exactly.
Tomorrow night, Butler and Seton Hall, both teams could use a win.
That they could.
I do feel like this is a game that Butler could lose and be fine. I mean, like David Wood said, if they go, 6-3 in the back half, I mean, they're off to a good start. Let's put it that way.
That said, if Butler is able to win that game, that puts them in a much better position. I don't think it necessarily slights Seton Hall either.
No, I think it'd be. I mean, obviously both teams would like to get the win, but I don't think it's an end-all be-all for either.
Oh no, not at all.
That's more,
Yeah.
Also tomorrow night, Providence plays Marquette.
Providence looking for their first ever win in Milwaukee. They have never beaten the Marquette in Milwaukee.
No.
Never, ever.
They lost to Marquette in Providence this year.
Yes. So the woes continued.
I guess if Marquette wins that might save their season. For Marquette's so weird.
They really are.
I don't know what to think about them. Because just when you think they're dead, they pull out a win like they did against Butler.
Yep.
Thursday, there are no games in the Big East, at least. You can watch
Iowa and Indiana.
Iowa and Indiana, that'd be fun.
UConn Temple.
Iowa and Indiana on ESPN or Big Ten Network.
What, UConn Temple?
No, Iowa and Indiana.
Oh, Iowa and Indiana. No TV listing is on there yet, but I'm going to probably say...
Well, if it's on ESPN, Dan Dockich is a good color commentator, and that is the extent of nice things we're going to say about him.
Yes. He did give us free publicity that one time.
Why is Oregon Cal say ESPN 3? That's not going to... Yeah. I feel like the KenPom TV listing's a little messed up this week.
Yeah, it might be a little messed up.
I don't think Oregon Cal is going to be on ESPN 3.
No, probably not.
And then Friday, no games. No games really anywhere unless you like Dayton, Rhode Island. or a little bit of Pac-12 action for you.
Yep.
And then Saturday is a big day.
It's a big day. We have a doubleheader on Big Fox. Georgetown plays Providence at noon, and then Xavier plays Butler at 2:30.
Yeah. And Georgetown Providence, if you like guards,
that's the game for you.
Yeah. If you think Georgetown can still save their season, that would be where they do it.
Yep.
Butler needs a win at Hinkle against Xavier.
Yes, and Butler is favored by a point in that game as of right now.
That's a tough week for Xavier.
It's a very tough week.
And then going to Indy.
Oh yeah, it's a very tough week for them. And Saturday in some non-Big East action, you've got Kansas and Oklahoma Part 2, which should be a fun one.
The first one was good.
And Virginia plays Duke as well. So
I do gotta warn you though, the sequel never lives up to the first one.
Ain't that the truth?
That's just a general rule for you.
Even though Toy Story 2 wasn't that bad.
Yeah, but compared to 1 and 3.
Yeah, that is
fair. Now they're making
a
fourth one. So,
You like to think that the 2013 Blackhawks don't live up to the standard of the 2010 or 2015 ones, even though you're crazy. But
it's sandwiched in the middle, If you're doing,
they were the best. They were the best of the three.
Yeah, they were.
Not even close.
It wasn't the most exciting, unlikely one though, because they were the best all year. Last year was a lot more stressful and unlikely.
That's true, I guess.
Creighton Marquette, great game, good game.
Yep.
And then St. John's has to go to the Pavilion. That's a bummer for them. I'm not even saying, maybe they'll win at the Pavilion. They won't. It's not even a St. John's thing.
No, it's just
no one's ever going to win at the Pavilion again. So I don't think we have a Sunday game this week. So that
we don't. So that's it.
Sunday, if you do want to watch Sunday's usually the Big Ten day. Indiana, Michigan State on CBS. You probably get some RAF action.
Yeah, I could see that. Some Clark Kellogg action.
I have to imagine RAF's going to be at one of the Fox games on.
Probably. CBS has some games that they could send him there too.
Yeah, but if he's doing a CBS game Sunday, which I'm imagining he is, I feel like something's got to give. I mean, Gus and Raph have only done like 4 games this year, and they're the conference's main crew.
No,
I know they both have other things, but actually, if you want to watch a fun game on ESPNU, Evansville and Loyola Chicago are playing.
That should be fun. Yes.
It's a good game. Yeah, so that should do it for that.
Yep.
We have some questions. Get to those real quick.
Yes.
Questions. Who will be the first team out of the NCAA tournament from the Big East? That is a question that I don't know that we can answer yet.
Nope, can't answer it yet.
Because I don't know the matchups.
Yep, exactly.
Or I would say Butler.
Yeah, but you never know.
Butler making a run, so.
Yeah, because you never know, because their offense could just go crazy.
Anonymous Eagle, is applying Post-it note adhesive to your hands during a game illegal? No. Go ahead.
Go for it.
It's frowned upon, but it's not illegal. Has Georgetown turned the corner, or is St. John's just that bad?
Might be a little of both. I just think it's too little too late for Georgetown. Simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Peake and Copeland have played well.
Yep.
I still don't think they're going to fire John Thompson. Please stop asking us if they're going to fire John Thompson. I don't think there are going to be any coaching changes in the Big East, actually.
Nope.
Did you think St. John's will still be winless this far along? No.
No, definitely not.
After they got 7 wins in the non-conference, I thought they could get to 10 this year.
They just might be overmatched.
They're in much better shape than another team that's going to win single-digit wins this year, like Rutgers or Missouri.
Yeah.
Just because of what they have coming in next year.
Exactly. And with regards to his second question, that's pretty much I'm withholding judgment for right now on what Mullen's coaching ability is.
I think his ability to make a coaching staff that can get big-time recruits is top-notch.
Yes.
People forget St. John's is without really their best player from this class, too, in Marcus Brett. So it's so tough to judge them because they're playing with not close to a full deck. Not to mention Chris Mullen had to start from scratch, and he's still really just kind of learning on the job, I imagine.
Yeah.
So, if Creighton can snag a win tonight, how many more wins do they need for a bubble bid?
Looking at their schedule, they probably need to win at Butler, they probably need to win at Providence, and then they probably need to win at Xavier. Or at least go 2-1 in that stretch.
Yeah, I mean, look, if they go, Ken Pom has them 19-12. They're going to need probably at least 2 Big East tournament wins then. If they're going to 21-12, 21-13, that would be then.
To be fair, they may have them at 19-12. I believe that was like their projected record at like the start of the season, maybe, because now they're projected at 18-13.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
with a 9-9 record in conference play.
Again, the thing about Creighton, they're going to be better next year, and I honestly think a lot of teams in the conference are going to take a step back next year. So,
yeah.
I mean, Providence isn't going to be as good next year. Butler has the potential to, but they're going to rely on their best recruiting class ever to replace Jones and Dunham.
Yep.
So, yeah. That'll do it for questions.
So that'll probably do it for this show.
What else we got here? Anything happened this week?
I don't think so, no. I think we pretty much took care of everything.
Yeah. Baseball's going to be back soon.
Yep, we've got some free, 100% free, if I may add, baseball coverage coming your way very soon. So be on the lookout for that.
We might have a baseball podcast coming, but it won't be us, in case you want to listen to some new voices.
Yep.
So stay tuned for that. What else? Do we want to talk about Louisville at all?
I feel like the horse has already been beaten.
Yeah, I mean, you say things like that, and then I tweeted the other day about the CBS map where they said Nebraska was the best team in the next 5 years.
Well,
so
damn it, Rob.
That should about do it here, more or less.
Yep, so keep it tuned here to Big East Coast Bias the rest of the way as the stretch run continues. We're about 32 days away from Selection Sunday, as crazy as it is to think that. So 32, 39, whichever it is. So we're getting close, guys. Anyways, for Rob, I'm Chris. Hope you've had a fun time listening to us. If you've decided to listen to us right now, if you decided to listen to us later, thank you. We appreciate it. Take care, everyone, and we'll be back for tonight's coverage of games. Rob will be live from the Rosemont Horizon later on tonight. So we'll have fun with that, have some fun on-site coverage when he gets there. As far as everything else, I'll be taking care of that as well as the rest of our staff. So we'll hope to entertain you. And take care.
Yep.